Hello, and we are back with the tongue twister of an episode. This new segment that we are planning to start from now on, Sikkim Ko Postscripts.
Postscripts is the full form of PS.
Yes, which people who used to write letters would remember. I don't think anyone uses it anymore.
Yeah, but the idea being this section or this kind of video would be more of a shorter video with something that we thought is pertinent to bring to our viewers in a short amount of time. So the idea being that it won't be very well produced. There might be some, the setting might not be perfect, but we wanted to discuss something we thought is important, and that's why we bring the Sikkim Ko Postscripts.
Yeah, that's kind of like an afterthought episode. And what brings us to this today is if you've gone to your favorite restaurant or bar and found that the owner who used to rustle up the best tea for you is not manning the counter on a particular day and is making the rounds of departments, it's because something known as the Sikkim Registration of Tourist Trade Act is being implemented with full force now. And there are, I think, only a couple of days left. August 31st is the last date by when people have to meet its guidelines. If you could,
I first came to hear of this from a friend of mine who also owns a hotel, and she was running around and she was telling me, I'm going to be busy for a few days because I have to do this registration renewal. I mean, okay, it's not a new registration. She has had the hotel for some time. But
it is a new registration in the sense that it has now all these properties or businesses that are engaged with tourism in any way. So travel agents, restaurants, cafes, hotels, homestays, B&Bs, they need to also now be registered with the tourism department.
Okay, so it is a new registration.
In a way, yes.
But earlier they did not need registration.
You could just get a trade license and begin operations, no?
Okay.
Most of the times. Okay. I mean, this act, like the name suggests, it was passed in 1998, which means the first term of SDF government. In 1998, this act was passed. As the name is self-explanatory, Registration of Tourist Trade Act. And the rules, of course, an act is brought in because you feel that something is required. There is some urgency, but then the rules were notified only a decade later in 2008, which is when it becomes the law.
But it is not just hotels. Like initially I thought it was just hotels, but the Tourist Trade Act, it is any business related to tourism, right?
Yeah. So travel agencies, restaurants, cafes, and not transport. Even them.
Travel agencies,
yes. So all of those. And this, I mean, as the name suggests, these rules have been in place since 2008.
Okay.
But now,
But it was not being followed.
Yeah, it was not as strictly enforced and not made mandatory. Like when you have a trade license, then you already have permission to begin your operations. So getting registered with, let's say, tourism department or any other agency, immediate question for most business operations would be, so what does that get us? Like when I get registered with the Commerce and Industries Department or with the UDHD and I get a trade license, I can begin operations. I can begin trade. Whereas getting registered with under this law,
you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah, it's not very clear what you're getting. I mean, apart from being kind of like empaneled with the tourism department, I don't know.
But the general view is that this is being done to raise revenue.
I know. I don't think it's being done to raise revenue so much as it is being done in some misguided notion of that somehow they will be able to fix responsibility and accountability when complaints are made. A lot of times when tourists have complained, they have been against these fly-by-night operators who are not registered with anyone, right? So who do you go after? The department says that we have no authority over these people to penalize them.
But
So that could be the beginning thing. But Yes, the revenue angle becomes interesting because this is such a complicated process. It's like getting a fresh trade license.
No, I wanted to say like it was notified in 2008,
Yeah.
but it was not implemented.
It was implemented, but not enforced as strictly.
Wait, though, what could be the reason? Maybe it was like, okay, this will be too, it would be inconveniencing these businesses, the tourism sector, let's say, I don't know. Maybe they got some initial backlash, or I don't know.
Yeah, it is just more regulation, right? It is this is registration, but what they actually mean is regulation, I think, right?
Okay.
So, which is never a good idea when it comes to private enterprise. Private enterprise should be as frictionless as possible. The more rules and the more places that you demand that people get registered, it is taking an entrepreneur's time away from the business that they want to do. So like I said, like most such operations are very small in Sikkim, right? Not everyone is this 5-star hotel with a manager and operations manager and things like that. Most of them are small. So to make the time to run after the departments, get these NOCs, all over, like pollution, health, labor, to name a few. I think there's police verification as well, which is again a very questionable requirement.
What I was saying is that it being implemented right now is what is telling people that it might be for generating revenue, because that has been so right now everything is like, okay, like the state has to raise money.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, I think to apply for it, you need to cut a BR of 2,000 rupees, which is pretty steep.
Yeah.
I would say. And then
you have another BR also, I think, of some.
And with every department, so this is to get your overall registration, right? And then with every department, then you have to cut a BR, I'm sure, to get them to give you an NOC and things like that. What is also, I hope some of these associations get into discussions with the government, is that they've really, the penalty if you do not get this registration done by the 31st of August is also pretty steep, I believe. I don't know what the exact amount is, but it is very steep. And that is what people should be looking more at, right? Why are suddenly all the fines and penalties so high? Because these are businesses that are already in operation legally. They have got all the documentation done with all the required agencies before they began operations. This is just a new registration that you're asking of them to be so strict about penalties, especially when you've not made it very clear about what the business will get in return. That is something that the associations that represent these businesses and operations should talk about more. Because even when we were discussing this whole tourism award business in our Sikkim Ko podcast episode
7.
Yeah, in episode 7, even there what we were talking about is that the tourism business has suffered so much in the past 5 years, I would say, since COVID, and since there on. You had this burst of few months of huge tourist footfalls, and then it's been kind of dead again. So they've suffered so much. The government should be thinking of, how do I kind of reduce the trauma for them, right? Make them do less, and maybe give them some tax breaks and thing. And then comes along this new regulation.
Isn't there also, this is like you can do it online. Is there some?
So in theory, I think every activity of the government can be done online, but that's in theory, right? It is not very. The experience, the sites are not very user friendly, and you still need to run around departments, and then you'll have to go to your, I don't know, councillors or MLAs or whatever, and NOCs and departments. And this is holiday season. I mean, just look at it. The last 3 weeks we've had long weekends, so there are fewer working days as it is. So I mean, there's a lot of things in this which I just feel are a slight zabardasti happening there, right?
Was there? Okay, this is happening. There hasn't been a lot of news about this, right?
No, it's a complicated issue, and it's not a new thing. In like, it is something that has been there. They're just kind of reminding people that now hurry up, let's get it done fast. So it's not new in that sense. And like I said, the associations that represent these businesses are not discussing it enough or not negotiating on behalf of business operators in Sikkim to get these things eased a bit, I would say. That is there. And and you're right, what you said about revenue also is, I mean, we were discussing that, right? This whole focus on revenue is kind of now going to very soon, I think we'll start receiving some pushback. Because all the departments have been told raise revenue. And what happens when government departments are told to raise revenue is that they just add the burden on people who are already being paid, already being made to pay. So if you're a business operation, then they'll make you do something more. If you are late, then they'll increase the penalty, fine. Because very few people have problems with high, like if you're not part of that sector. If you're not, let's say if you're not a vehicle owner, then when the government says that I'll increase the challan, the penalties for traffic violations, the lay people will say, no problem, if you're breaking the law, if you're not following the rules, pay a high penalty, right? Whereas people who are vehicle owners, for them it's like, because it comes so frequently. So similarly for the hotel owners, it is not only are they being kind of, or all businesses that come under this law.
Not just hotel owners.
It is not, so all the people, all the businesses that come under this law, for them it is not so much as being told that, okay, do it fast. It is about, there are like these huge number of departments that you are requiring me to go to get these NOCs. I don't have enough time because everyone works last minute in Sikkim. I don't have enough time. And then when I can't meet the deadline, the penalty that is awaiting me is huge in a time when business is low. So like it's just like, it's a very distasteful thing for these business operations is what I feel. And for that reason and all, I think that you can like do things thoda aaram se. Because I mean, I'm thinking of the timing. Okay, you had this would have been good tourist season right now, summers, right? But because of the roads, there are no tourists around. Summers in the plains. But very soon, from September onwards, like we are in the last week of August now, from September onwards, you have to start preparing for your puja season. Like the season will hit you later, but you have to prepare, right? Hiring, cleaning, renovation. So there are expenses involved. And just when you're preparing for that season, you also have this headache imposed on you. These are slight sensitivities that people in office should.
At the same time, I think this is something that you don't have to do every year. I think for some, it's for a long time, you don't have to do it again, is what I hear. But I don't know how long.
Yeah,
the validity of it is.
It's a registration, right? It is not a license. You're just getting registered with them. It's not like...
But even within that, supposedly, so if you're running a restaurant also, right, the food, you have to get an NOC from the food department, food and civil supplies or something. Food safety, I don't know.
Health, that's health department,
I don't know.
They check the kitchens and hygiene, right,
So that one expires in 2 years and you have to renew it every 2 years. So there are sections within the thing, but the overall, I think the, overall registration is for, I don't know.
You do realize that we recently had this string of inspections of kitchens. I mean, some were have always been problematically dirty and were told to clean up. But this sudden spike also is probably related to this, right? You have to check.
There was talk of that also, that could be related because it was sudden and then...
But just because, your registration with, or your, let's say whatever, NOCs, they can have a shelf life of 2 years, but that doesn't mean that you should not be inspected more often.
I know.
Right?
It should be inspected more often, actually. Every year.
Yeah, and this interface is problematic, right? So this interface, well, let's say when the health inspectors or whatever they're called, when they come inspecting, health. So when they inspect, they should come as health inspectors, check the kitchen, and it should not be seen as I'm coming to raid. See the attitude. So the demeanor with these officers come into these businesses and check things. It's like they're conducting a raid, which is not what it is. Nothing illegal is happening. I mean, it's unhygienic, maybe, yes, but that does not make a person a criminal.
That's like 90%.
Right?
Of
So you have to come on an inspection, and people have to realize that there is a difference between an inspection and a raid. If you are coming on an inspection, I'll be hospitable. If I run a business, a restaurant, let's say, for example, I'm sitting on the counter and you come on your inspections, the whole air gets charged with aggression and that whole raid feeling, right? In which the people eating there will suddenly start feeling queasy. Oh, maybe the kitchen is really dirty. That is why this is happening. Otherwise, it can be an inspection. You can talk to the customers there. You can check the kitchen. Absolutely fine, right?
That way, I feel like Sikkim is still very tribal. So it's
all over India.
People just need an opportunity to throw their weight around. And it's ideally that should not be the case. Like you said, it's not a raid. But then that's just one opportunity, and they're not going to let go of it. They'll be just.
Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. And we kind of digressed here from the main topic at hand. But so this registration also tells me that there is space for a startup in Sikkim that just is this startup that helps people with government
navigating government departments.
Yeah, like you want a trade license, hire me for this much, and like if you want it in 10 days, I'm not saying breaking the law, right? But someone who just knows which departments to go to.
There are people like that.
No, but it's not organized.
It's not organized.
But imagine if it was on the yellow pages. It was on our Sikkim if that service was being advertised on Sikkim Ko.
We had thought of it once when we were in Sikkim now.
Yeah.
That we would, get this.
Do a series.
Sorry?
Do a series of.
A section where
DIYs.
we explain how to go about
DIY.
it. But that's a tough one because there is no fixed process. That is the problem. Yeah,
it will be so wonderful. And no, see, do you realize, I mean, so many firms then going and running all over to get these in a time when we're talking about single window clearance. We're talking ease of business.
Yeah.
We're talking some things called the seed cell or something like that there is an organization. When you're looking at, those are associations. Yeah, when you're looking at these guys whose job it is to make things easy for someone to begin a business or to run a business or to do well, you are just giving them more to do just by way of paperwork. And that is something that requires a rethink, I feel.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Nothing to it. I think they should, for travel businesses, they should only be required. I mean, if you're making them get their license from one place and then get registered somewhere else and then get some other permits from some third agency, it is just making things difficult for the people who are trying to do honest business. So you should try and make it as easy and convenient. I mean, yes, don't let people operate in the gray area, get their documentation and everything in order, but do it as facilitators, right? Not as gatekeepers who will decide and make things difficult for you to remain in business. I mean, that's all. It's not about this alone. It's just the general attitude.
All the best in your
hopes,
dream world.
Yes.
It's never going to happen.
Yes. If I form a country someday, I'll keep these things in mind. Yes. On that note, I think our postscript
is done.
PS, subscribe, share, comment.
And tell us what you think of this postscript, section episode.
Yes.
And we will continue if you guys like it. And if you don't, we will not.
We'll just record for ourselves.
Bye.
Thank you.